Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado, and I'm so glad you could join me today. I have a card for you that is inspired by a challenge that I've received. In my downline team, we do swaps every month, and the challenge this month is to use something from your stash that you have not used before, or that you haven't used in a really long time. And so I've come up with a design that uses something I've had in my stash for a little bit and had not yet had the chance to use. And so I've come up with a design and I'm really pleased with it. So let's just get started. Okay, here is my card. And what I'm using this time is I am using a set of dies, and these are friendly silhouette dies, and they come with this die that cuts out a bunch of flowers, this one that cuts out some, looks like pussy willows. It's got a couple of little dragonflies in it, and this one's got kind of like a little beachy thing with some palm trees. And I had not used that, and so I determined that that's what I was going to try and use this time and come up with a design that worked for that. So this is what I've come up with, and I've decided to change up my colors. So I am using a Whisper White base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. And then I have 2 pieces of Highland Heather, and this first piece is 4 inches, 4 inches by 5 1/2, and this piece is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have another little piece of white for the inside that is 3 3/4 by 5. That's going to nest on that one and be my decoration for the inside. And then this piece is a piece of white, and this piece of white is cut 5 1/4 inches by 4. Okay, and then I've taken my die, as you can see here, and I put this end on this side so that it would cut right to the very edge of the card, and then drew it across so that it would cut as close to being straight and a diagonal across the card this way. And then I taped it down, and I've run this through my die cutting machine. And so now I'm going to take it apart, and we'll go ahead and use this as our piece for our card today. So let me just, it's cut all the way through. I'm absolutely positive about that. So I'm going to start peeling the card off of my die and my tape very carefully here so that I get my pieces removed. And this is kind of fun because it cuts an edge for you, and I thought it might be kind of fun to cut an angle edge instead of an edge that goes straight across. So now I have to take it apart and pull these pieces apart. There we go, and there is our card front. You can see that my piece cut right to here, so I'm just going to continue that line so that it matches up with that die cut. All right, that takes care of that end, and this end went all the way to the end. And then we've got a few little pieces probably that need to poke out, although it kind of looks like most of them came out. This would be fun to do in black too, like a silhouette, and I just decided I wanted a white silhouette. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of card that I cut out that's got my die cut on it and tuck it into this corner so that these flowers stay on the inside of this piece, as do these, and it's going to be a little bit short of my piece on this end, but I think that looks just fine, and it's not a problem. And I wanted this piece to go all the way across my card and just have a little margin at the top and the bottom. So that's what I have here. Now, what I'm going to do is put some glue and get this piece down on my piece of Highland Heather. And for that, I'm using my dot runner along the edges of these little flowers here, so that I get some glue on all of those pieces and it glues down to my card front. And you can do this with Tombow, you can do it with just whatever is your favorite adhesive. Even a spray adhesive would probably work here, although I haven't had much luck with those. So on my silicone mat here, because the glue doesn't stick to your mat, you can go ahead and make sure you get plenty of snail down on this part that's going to stick down on my card. And there we've got lots of glue. Now, I'm going to take this, continue with that thought of sort of tucking this over in this corner, so I'm going to stand it on its end and get it to come all the way across that piece of card on the bottom. And there we go. I've got it set where I want it, and then I'm just going to press these down into place. And isn't that just pretty? I think this was my prototype, and I just went ahead and made a card with it, and I used Calypso Coral on this one, and I can see where using more of my favorite colors, like in this case, the Highland Heather or Gorgeous Grape or Lovely Lipstick or any of those brighter, more vibrant colors, just makes that so pretty. Very, very nice. I'm tickled with that. Okay, so now this piece, now that it's secure and down, when you do your coloring and you do it, I wanted it on here so that it would be more stable to color. But that gives you a challenge in that you don't want to get your colors off of the flower and onto this background, so you just have to be really, really careful. So I'm going to take the brush end of my marker, and this one is my Lovely Lipstick marker, so I've decided to do this one in the Highland Heather, the Lovely Lipstick, and then as long as I had that set out, I used the Blueberry Bushel, and I'm going to use that a little bit on my butterfly. All right, I think I am anyway. So what I'm going to do is just color in a few of these little flowers on my cutout. That's really scary with that dark color. And maybe I'd have been better to try to do this before I got it on the card. And I'm feeling like I have a little bit more control if I'm using this pointed end here. All right, so then I'm just coloring the ones that are the little bit smaller flowers here, just to get some extra added color on here. Yep, I think this would have been much smarter to do before you put this on your card. So you be smarter than me and you do yours that way. All right, so I'm going to add just a few more things here. This top right here. I wonder if I can pick those ends up a little bit. I bet I can. Yep, and I'm going to stick a little piece of Post-it note underneath that so I can feel a little more free in my coloring. and then put that back down. So if you got ahead and did it the way I did, you can get it colored and then set it back down. Well, at least with me, you're going to learn how to fix things that are mistakes. We're going to learn how to do things and fix them if they don't come out exactly right. All right, I feel very comfortable that that is done the best I can do. Now you could cut this little piece of paper a little bit longer all the way to the 5.5 and get this little flower that was on the edge here, you could even cut a little bit a second one so you could tuck some in if you wanted to go all the way to the edge. The other thing we could do is just trim that down so that it doesn't go all the way to the edge. Maybe I'll do that. Where's my mini trimmer? Let's see what happens. This bothers me. This looks like it's cut off. There, it didn't bother me quite as much on that one, but clearly here, and it's about 1/4 of an inch that I'm taking off. Now that looks like it makes a little bit more sense, and it changes the design just a little bit in that this is now going to fit with a border all the way around it, and I don't mind the way that looks at all. Okay, I'm happy with that. All right, so let me finish doing my stamping. And what I did was, this stamp set that goes with this didn't have a flower stamp. It had more grass. So I grabbed this one, Positive Thoughts, because I like this thing, sending positive thoughts and feel-good wishes. And I think there's a lot of people I could send that card to this time, given what we're going through, that I may make a handful of these. And it's also got hugs, prayers, and love. And friends like you mean more every year. I thought the sentiments on this were just beautiful. And the little dragonflies on this stamp set that goes with this are really tiny. So I thought I would use the butterfly from this set as long as I was at it. So I'm using Sending Positive Thoughts and Feel Good Wishes, and I'm using this butterfly. All right. So now I've got my butterfly, and I'm going to be using my Memento ink and get that good and inked up. Got a nice juicy pad here, and I put one butterfly right up here, which left me plenty of room for my sentiment. And then one butterfly right up here on the purple. And there we go. All right, now I wanted my centers to be really dark, so I took my marker, my black marker, and I colored those butterfly centers in. And there. I wanted that part to be really solid. All right. Then I thought it would be kind of fun. This one I did two colors. I did the orange around the rim and then the red. So I'm going to do the red around the rim, or the lovely lipstick right around the edge of the butterfly wings. And this butterfly has this little piece that comes at the end here. So I'm going to fill that in with this color. So here we go, sending positive thoughts and feel-good wishes that I'm going to set right down here on my card. Hopefully nice and straight. And there we go. Sending positive thoughts and feel-good wishes. And so my stamping is done for that. Now I'm going to let that sit and dry a minute because I don't want that to smear. And then we've got one more little bit of stamping, and I'm going to stamp my butterfly down here in the corner on the inside of my card. And I'm going to put some of this lovely lipstick around the edges. I'm not crazy about the way that blue looks, so I'm going to change this one on the inside, and I'm going to put some Highland Heather into that one. I've got a Highland Heather marker here, and I'm just going to fill that in. Oh, I like that much better. Fill that in on this one. There we go. All right. Now we can put this front of the card together while this one dries just a little bit. I didn't raise anything on this. I gave some serious thought to cutting out this butterfly. I could fix this one so that it has a different color on the inside, and that is, in fact, I think I stamped one out. Well, let's see what happens if we just do that. I'll go ahead and darken this one in. And then this will be the only thing that's raised on here. And I'm going to go ahead and color that in. Bone folder and give this butterfly just a little dimension. And I'm going to take a mini glue dot and put that right here on the back of his body, and we're going to cover up that butterfly. And I do think I like that coloring a little bit better. The blue was just a little too jarring for me. And even though I'd love to have a third color on here, I think that that is sufficient. All right, so now this is ready to go on our card front. And so I'll add some snail to the back of my card and get that put in place. And I do like that the pattern goes all the way to the end. So if you want yours to go all the way to the end with no margin, then you'll have to cut this top piece to 5 1/2, and then make your edges extend all the way to as far on the white as you can, and then center that a little bit. So there we go. That's that. Now we can put these inside pieces together. Let me get some of this out of the way. So this one is ready to go on our piece of Highland Heather. This would make a pretty note card set too, where the backgrounds were in different colors. And You could color butterflies any number of colors. All right, so this is now ready to go on the inside of our card. And we brought the outside to the inside. And there we have that pretty butterfly and our little purple rim. And we have this all done. So the last thing I need to do is add a few rhinestones, and you could do the noble peacock that has the purple rhinestones. In this case, I think I'm just going to use the plain rhinestones. I like the idea of just the sparkle. So I'm adding one of these to the center of the butterflies in both cases. And then scattering a couple more around on the card. I must like this configuration because I ended up putting them in exactly the same places. Anyway, that is my card for the day. But anytime you have a die like this, and I'm positive this wasn't intended to go diagonal across your card, it was supposed to show flowers along the bottom going more upright and cutting all the way across the card. But, you know, putting it on here, I think makes this particular one look a lot more interesting. Angles are such fun things. And if you had some ribbon, you could run some ribbon along this edge. In fact, I think, yeah, I have a little bit of this colored ribbon from another project. You can see where adding some ribbon across here would dress it up even further. This is a design that I'll probably continue to mess with, or you could run it across this way or down this way, and then put a little bow on here would dress this up further. But I'm really pretty happy with this one just the way it is. For simple and fast, this, you know, once you do your die cut, it's a matter of coloring in a few butterflies and putting your piece together. So that's it for me today. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator, or you could join my team. We've still got just today, I think this is going to post on the 31st, and that's the last day of celebration. It's the last day of the join offer, and so it's a pretty momentous day in Stampin' Up! This sale that they've had is the biggest sale of the year that Stampin' Up! Has. So again, that's it for me. I'll be back soon with more cards, more tips, and more projects. Bye!